got high hopes for this beer. We'll see. We say that every week, though.
Yeah. The only real failure was the
waffle.
The waffle. At least it wasn't waffles and fried chicken.
What was that called? Waffle sauce.
Yeah.
Worst beer ever. Good afternoon, everybody. Episode 21 of the American Craftsman Podcast. Wasn't sure if I had updated that on the top of the sheet. Man, another banner week at Greene Street, huh?
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Yeah, it feels like the mood in general, out there in the world is shifting a little bit more positivity, a little bit more openness, I'll say. People are starting, either it's, the sense that winter, even though here in the Northeast, it's a long time before it ends, but, we got over that January hump, more or less. Mm-hmm. February is usually the coldest month around here, yeah. But
we've been lucky. It's been mild.
Yeah. Starting anticipating spring. Maybe for those of you who are interested in getting a vaccine, that comes up on the horizon.
Yeah.
And, starts giving people a little bit more willingness to, shop and do things.
Yeah. You guys might notice a bit of a set change this week.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the wall we've been working on with John Peters and Sauce hinges. So this is actually, this door, I won't push it in because then it'll be, oh wait, no, it is still open.
Yeah.
So that's actually a door that goes in, and Rob's got one over here that pulls out.
Yeah. For your secret rooms.
Now I'll crush my fingers trying to close it.
Yeah. I'll
stand up. So yeah, this wall is for the their new hinges, the 518.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they've been around for a little bit. They're not like brand new, like they're already out. But they're the 518 hinges, so you can actually, like on this one, the trim is attached to the wall, and on that one, the trim is attached to the door, and it can still open without binding. So
right.
It's pretty cool.
That's the big thing, how it projects the door out away.
It's like a crank hinge kind of on a cabinet.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a nice project.
Yeah, so I think Friday we'll wrap up the video. We'll get this crated up and out to Sauce.
Yep. Yeah.
Excuse me. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the beer of the week.
Yeah, I'm kind of thirsty.
So, continue the trend of, I like the idea of a one larger bottle of beer, and then I'm sure we'll run out of ideas, and then
we'll go to another one.
Yeah. So this week we have a beer from Paradox Beer Company. They're in Colorado, I believe. Divide, Colorado. Wonder if there's a brewery called Great Divide.
Yeah.
This is Piña Cielo. That means pineapple sky. Wild sour ale brewed with pineapples and Ceylon cinnamon, aged in wine barrels. Then it says Paradox fermentation, bottle conditioned. And I think over here it kind of gives you a spiel, yeah. Our ever-evolving mixed fermentation, aging, and blending processes integrate a spectrum of lab-isolated and wild Brettanomyces, Saccharomyces, Lactobacillus, and Pediococcus. This rare beer honors the relative uncertainty of each season through rigorous quality and testing and ongoing vigilant experimentation to yield an interpretation that could only be produced by us here and now. Crafted with passion, patience, and palate under one ethos, unflinchingly wayward.
I got a question. Except for us, who do you think reads that?
Well, if you're drinking this beer, I think that you might be. They're a Clean Energy Partner certified, independent craft brewing, and Colorado craft brewing. So this is from 10/23/2017. It's aged on American oak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oak. I like the label there. It reminds me of like a pirate ship and like Day of the Dead sort of thing.
Yeah, it's got like a sugar skull and mash paddles. That's what they use to stir the mash as they're cooking the beer.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a common sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like iconography of the brewing
symbolism.
Yeah. Number 57, whatever that means.
Yeah, crack it open.
We got the bottle opener here from Keith, 2-Bit Woodworks. Thanks, Keith.
How's the shoulder, Keith?
Yeah, I spoke to Keith about a week ago. Wow, that smells sour. Send your glass over this way. Let me move this microphone.
I like the way it looks. I like the way it sounds going into that glass, too.
Yeah, can we get that on the mic?
Yeah, maybe you can increase the volume in post-production there.
Yeah, let us know how that sounded. And it did the sound of this microphone moving around. Ruin your ears.
Yeah, it's some nice foam on there, too.
This got a serious head on it.
Yeah.
Big bubbles.
What's that from? Carbonation? Wow, that's some thick-looking foam, too.
Yeah, the size of the bubbles, I think, has to do with the yeast. Different yeasts make different...
Wow.
Like a champagne yeast, I think, has more fine bubbles.
I mean, look at how thick that foam is.
Yeah. It's a vigilant head.
I was about to say something, but we lose our G rating.
We're going to lose the Disney sponsorship.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew somebody.
That's what Frank Carpenter 13 says. He says, I'm going to lose my Disney sponsorship.
Going back to my musician days.
A groupie.
Yeah. I've heard that adjective before, but never when speaking about a beer.
Nice bottle too. It's got the
the thumb.
Yeah,
thumb pour.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, where are you? There you go. A lot of good things come out of Colorado.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
You got to get through this foam. I don't even know if I got to the beer.
That's crisp. Wouldn't you say?
I can definitely taste some pineapple.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
Woo. Got a little funk to it.
Yeah. Plus, it's really cold. We stuck it in the freezer.
Yeah. I have foam all over my lip. Well, as it does every week, that leads us into the tool of the week.
Yeah.
What do you got this week?
Well, I have this new razor knife. I wanted to go for something a little bit heftier, a little bit more, easy to hold for putting pressure on. So we got this, how do you say it, stall wheel or stall wile?
Yeah, stall wile maybe. I'm not sure.
It's German.
Yeah.
It's an 18 millimeter razor knife, with the breakable blades. You replace them by, just snapping off the tip. It's got a little lock feature here. And this casing is aluminum. So it's like this, two-piece cast thing, and it's got like
rubber overmolded
rubberized grip. It's 18 millimeter. It replaces my old Ulfa, which is still good for stuff. It's 9 millimeters, but you see the blade is literally half the size.
Yeah.
And this is cool because it weighs nothing. You stick it in your pocket, you don't even know it's there. That
you could
definitely
knock somebody out with this thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a heavy duty tool.
It weighs a half a pound maybe.
Yeah. I like it because you could lock the blade pretty easily. Once you get that muscle memory going about which way does, the things you want it to.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to get a new knife also because it fits into my apron better.
You got some space to fill up.
Yeah. Well, this one was so tiny, it would literally slid through the slot that I had reserved for the knife, because there's no bottom on it.
Yeah, well, you went from using a regular,
I had that Milwaukee flip out.
yeah, like a utility knife,
Yeah.
to a smaller one, so
Yeah.
it wasn't quite suited
Right.
to the Apron.
But this thing's nice.
Yeah, that's sweet.
It does, it's got real heft to it.
Yeah, in my like site work belt, I have that big Stanley,
Yeah.
which is like a similar size and weight to that. I like having a heavy duty knife for that kind of stuff. Cutting
Yeah.
shims. Sometimes you cut the fat end of a shim. Like you really want to be able to
Yeah.
bear down on that.
Right, and that's what I like the lock for, too. You feel a little bit safer pressing.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not going to go in. You also have that really nice knife, too, for the job site.
That's what I'm talking about. That Stanley.
Didn't you have a Japanese knife?
I've had a Tajima, like a blue one.
Yeah,
but it
that's
was
what I
too
thought.
small. Like the body was like maybe 2/3 the size of that.
Yeah.
And it just like gets lost in your hand.
That's what I was thinking of, that thing.
Yeah.
So it's gone. Well, we're going to give this, put it through its paces here in the shop.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident it's going to be a keeper, but you never know with us.
Yeah.
We're a fickle crew.
Yeah, it takes some time sometimes to find out the the nuances and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Plus, we're not above just getting new stuff. If we find something that's, it's well made, we like to support companies that are, either they're not part of a huge corporation.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a cottage industry type of thing, but we like to support smaller companies. Stall Wheels probably, compared to American companies like Stanley, it's probably small.
Oh yeah.
But it's a major manufacturer for German stuff.
Yeah, and they care. You could tell because it's a nice.
Exactly.
That wasn't any more expensive than.
No, that's the shocking thing.
It was what, $25 or something?
Yeah. It isn't more expensive.
No.
And it goes to support local workers in that local town.
Yeah.
And even if it's over there in Germany, it's still the same principle.
Right. Nice. Actually, I have a little tool, not a tool of the week, but I have these new 1620 pants on.
Oh yeah, we're big fanboys of the 1620 now.
1620. We talked about them briefly before, but they're a company up in Massachusetts, and so they're a workwear company. They make pants and well, they make shirts, but they make sweatshirts and jackets
And
vests. All the material is made in the U.S. All the final product is made in Massachusetts. I think the fabric is all coming from North Carolina. They have two kinds. This is called the tweave. So this is like a super stretch.
Yeah.
So I recently got some of the True Work, the T1s and the T2s. I thought they were stretchy. This is like maybe twice as stretchy, and it doesn't have that swishy sound.
Yeah. They're still rugged. I mean, I don't know how, but they guarantee this stuff for life.
Yeah, everything is custom hem too. So like if you're short like me and you like to wear a 29, you can get whatever waist size and inch by inch, 29, 30, 31, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. I mean, they're not cheap, but again, it's going back to like the Stahlweiler knife. These are supporting real people. Couple hours north, 5 hours north of us up in Massachusetts. They're buying stuff made in North Carolina, sending it to Massachusetts, making it, and then sending it out to the end user.
Oh, yeah. We beat this topic up a little bit, but all that money stays in the community.
Yeah.
And it's good for us. It's good for all you listeners out there. It really is.
Yeah, like, I like those True Work pants. They're very comfortable. But, I got them, and then I look inside and it says made in Bangladesh, and it's like a total and those are $70 pants.
Yeah, right.
Now granted, these are $200 pants.
Yeah.
But think about it.
Yeah.
The difference in cost between making something here and making something in Bangladesh and just putting it on a boat and sending it here.
Yeah. Hey, people just need to think, how much do I earn per hour? What is my time worth?
Guaranteed for life.
Yeah.
These pants.
Yeah.
Your T1s aren't guaranteed for life. And I'm not knocking True Work, because I have 2 pairs of True Work and I wear them. But I'm just saying, think about dropping the extra money on a good pair of pants.
Yeah. I'm a true convert. So's the wife. She keeps saying, "Did you order another pair of those pants?"
Yeah, my wife actually got me these for my birthday's coming up. We're horrible with gifts, so I opened them a week early. She got me a hoodie too. I had to send it back to exchange for a bigger size, and they'll repair stuff.
Yep.
And they actually, like, their stuff is so heavy duty that if people send it back, like they wore it and it turned out that they didn't like it or something, they actually will resell.
Yeah.
Like they'll take them, repair anything that needs to be repaired, clean them, and then sell them.
Yeah, they have a used stock.
Yeah.
They have a cooler name for it than that, but I can't remember what it was.
I forget what it's called. But yeah, really nice guys. I spoke to Josh. He's one of the owners. Talked to him on Instagram a couple weeks ago. Nice guy. Yeah.
So if you're listening, even if you don't think you're in the market for a pair of work pants, check it out, 1620.
Yeah, I think it's 1620usa.com.
Cool. All right, tools of the week.
Yeah.
So we're up to the gripe of the week already.
That's right.
Yeah. Today is our recycling day here in this part of Middletown. Pretty good tasting, right?
Yeah.
And this is my petty gripe now. We used to have garbage men that would come, and you'd see them and you knew them, and they manually picked up the pail, and in the summertime we'd wait up early in the morning and we'd give them cards with, money in it and stuff like that. And it was a cool thing because maybe you had something extra, you slipped them a little extra money, you threw it in the truck. But in their efforts to keep driving the cost down, now we have the garbage truck. Boy, the squirrels are going crazy, huh?
Yeah.
We have the garbage trucks now. It's run by one guy, and like the arm comes off, grabs the can, and dumps it in the back. Now, this is my gripe. The can doesn't always get emptied.
Yeah.
Like a bag could be jammed in there or something, and then the guy doesn't get out of the truck, and if the truck's kind of full or midway, they can't really tell by the sound.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they could tell at all.
Right?
Because they don't know how much garbage you have in there either.
So we have to say, you didn't pick up the garbage. And because the cans have this little tag on it, like this little electronic thing that tells them that, they came and got it. They say, oh, no, we got it. But if you didn't empty the pail, is it empty or is it not empty? They're not paid to just drive by and try to empty my garbage.
Right.
They're paid to come take it away.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a trade-off for, I guess, it's faster. So that means that the truck can do more in less amount of time. It's running less fuel, less pollution.
It's mostly two less guys working.
Yeah. I'm not looking at just the financial benefit for the company.
Yeah.
I'm talking just in general, like better for the environment because there's, they're not sitting there idling. Well,
right.
So yeah, it's a trade-off between that efficiency and the inefficiency of maybe not all the garbage getting dumped out.
Yeah. So my gripe is with the automated garbage pickup. I want the old thing back. I want my garbage men. Back. That's it.
I hate to break it to you. You're not getting them. You'll be lucky if there's a guy driving that truck in a year.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just going to be a Tesla garbage. Hopefully it's a nickel garbage truck so my fucking stock goes back up. That's right.
I mean, first they take away the cashiers. Luckily, they're not totally gone yet. I don't want to check myself out.
And half the time you do something, it's like, wait for the attendant, and then they got to come over.
So that's my sub gripe. It's with the cashiers. I want the people there. I want these things. Listen, I'm 58. I'm going to be 59. It's tough to adapt to all these changes.
Yeah.
Some I'm happy to adapt to. I mean, I love my phone and I love all this technology that I can, learn the parts that I can learn. But I want the guys and the women back at the position. I like, how's it going today, Marge? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that so-and-such is on sale? Oh, let me go back and get that.
Well, all these sort of I was going to say menial, but it's not a good
even
term.
that.
All of these, how do I word this without?
It's a service job.
Yeah, like these just sort of basic service industry jobs have been degraded to such a point that, you know, the qualifications to have one have gotten so low that now these people are being replaced by a robot, by a computer.
Yeah.
You know, you used to be able to make a living as the cashier at ShopRite.
That's right.
Now you're lucky if you're getting $10 an hour.
Yeah, that's what they did. They drove the wage down to such a point to make that job not really enticing.
And it's not even enticing. It's just if you have it, you can't survive.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by that. It's like you're going to put in your 40 hours and still, you know, not be getting by.
Right. Then you have to have a second job, and then your first job gets, you know, you're sacrificing the quality of your performance at both jobs.
Forget about home life.
Yeah. Fuck those kids that you got. They don't need to see mom or dad.
That's why they're not doing well at school.
Yeah. It's a complicated issue.
Yeah.
We won't preach on it too much. You know what my gripe of the week is? People that drag their feet.
Oh, yeah. Foot draggers.
Yeah.
Procrastinators.
You got something to do and you just don't do it at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah, that's the problem with procrastinators. They're so wrapped up in their own stuff that they don't even think about the ramifications of their actions.
Yeah, must be nice.
That's right. It's you know, quite an inconsiderate position to take, but
yeah,
we can't change the world, can we?
We digress.
No, yes.
Let's get into these questions.
All right.
We're going to lead off with Dave again. He had a funny one last week about our workout. It's actually funny. I started going to physical therapy this week, so I am doing a little bit of working out for my knee.
Yeah.
David wants to know from DW's Remodeling on Instagram, did you guys hoard toilet paper?
David, we didn't have to because the way my wife shops, and Jeff will attest to this, you go down, we have an unfinished basement in our old house, but you go down there and there's some old wooden shelves, and there are more paper towels and toilet paper and batteries of every size.
Like a bodega down there. If there was like a cat sleeping on the counter.
So there was no hoarding needed. If anybody in the neighborhood came knocking at the door and needed a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, I think she actually floated me a roll or two. See, my wife and I, we didn't hoard toilet paper, and we missed the opportunity. It blew right past us.
Yes.
We made it to the point where we were borrowing, and stealing to get a roll of toilet paper before we got more. And then we got the most horrible toilet paper ever.
Yeah. It used to be paper towels, but then they repackaged it.
Yeah. No, they were, you know, like the kind that you could see through, like these paper towels we have here.
Yeah.
That's why we have this. We have a center. It's called a center pull paper towel dispenser in the shop, which is, excuse me. If you ever go to like a public restroom, sometimes they have this kind. I feel like not all that often. Anymore. I feel like I've seen them in kitchens and stuff. But it's a roll, and instead of pulling from the outside, it pulls from the center. And it has to be the worst design for paper towels ever.
Because you pull out about 7.
Yeah, and the ones that we have are perforated unevenly, so you can never pull one off. Anyway, that's where I ended up because we ran out of paper towels, so I had to buy that. So now it's here.
Yeah, that was a source of amusement that you had that in your kitchen.
Yeah, well, I put it on like a hand-cut dovetail piece of sapele with Rubio monocoat on it. Yeah. It looks nice.
It does. But that plastic dispenser, yeah.
I even put a magnet on there, so I have the key to get inside of it stuck up there.
Yeah. So the answer was we didn't really break from our normal routines here.
No. You already had a hoard, and I didn't have the chance to hoard.
No. We still have a stockpile down there.
I have more. Yeah, I have enough now to get through.
Yeah.
I took the bad toilet paper when we could finally get good toilet paper, and I stashed that away.
Just in case.
Just in case of emergency.
Yeah. Well, look at this next question.
That's a good one.
Where did you get your apron? That's Bill. Bill builds woodworking on Instagram. That's easy.
Yeah, Bill. We talk about this a lot. I mean, maybe we haven't talked about it in a while, but in one of the earlier episodes, I think we spoke at length about Calavera Tool Works. Michael's down in Charleston, South Carolina, and he makes these aprons. They're all made by hand. Yeah. He's got patterns. He cuts out the leather, does the sewing, makes the straps. He's doing, stone washing the hardware.
Yeah.
Putting dye on, some of the stuff comes pre-dyed, but putting dye on some of the hides. He's got bison and several different types of, regular, what do you call it, steer leather, regular cow leather. Yeah. Amazing handmade aprons.
Yeah.
And, they're, probably start around $250, $300 and go up maybe in the range of $400.
Yeah.
But
well worth it.
Yeah. Think about what it takes to make that and how you could possibly be making a profit on.
That's the impression I got when first off, the experience of buying it. We're so removed from things. I never had a custom suit made or anything like that. My mother was a tailor. My mother actually came from Sicily and was a real old, immigrant kind of skilled worker in that regard. So when I was a kid, I remember seeing people come in, and my mother would literally, you make the pattern and chalk it all out. So there's this experience of having something made for you, and it's this apron gives you that experience when you open it up. And Michael, of course, you've communicated with him through the process, and there's a note in there, and he
wraps it up in butcher's paper and writes a little, well wish on the front of it, seals it with a Calavera sticker.
The care that goes into it, the earnestness, I'll say.
Yeah.
You say to yourself, how does he sell them this cheaply? That's the thing. It sounds like a lot, just like the pants sound like a lot, and we don't want to turn into an infomercial. But it's a issue that's near and dear to us, supporting other local craftsmen. And the people at 1620, they're craftsmen. Michael's a craftsman. We're craftsmen. This is the American Craftsman Podcast.
Yeah.
We're just trying to, encourage others out there to support this type of community effort.
And you feel a connection to the thing when you're, wearing it. Like these pants, I get a better experience out of wearing them because I know that they were made by somebody 6 hours north of here.
Yeah.
Every time I put on that apron,
we feel proud to wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go on and you pick the length and what pockets you want. You want no pocket. He's got, 3 or 4 different kinds of pockets. You can change around the types of straps and the hardware, and it's a real custom made to order.
It is.
He has a list of stuff that's pre-made, but
he made me a couple of things.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's going to kill me.
Yeah, you can get a tape measure holder, a ring for a rag. And there's even guys now, guys and gals, butchers, barbers, all kinds of people.
Because we use it in more of its truer sense for protection and things like that. But it's quite a fashionable item when it comes brand new. Ours take a beating.
Yeah, mine's awfully dusty.
They get marked on and all the little things that happen. We don't really take care of them in that way to make them stay pretty.
Right. But you can clean it up and oil it, and it'll look, it'll look broken in, obviously, but the leather will look brand new. That's one of the good things about leather is it really takes the conditioning well.
Yeah. It gets better with age.
Yeah.
It does. So Calavera, that's where we get our aprons.
Yeah. And Michael actually makes correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the bags that hold the wireless headset things for the NFL.
Yeah, he started making a bunch of stuff.
The Bose headsets that the coaches wear. Michael makes the bags that the guys wear on their hip to hold the transmitter.
And he made tons of masks during all this.
Yeah, so he was actually taking Festool vacuum bags. Michael used to work for Festool. He was taking Festool bags and making them into masks and shipping them out all over. He made I don't even know, 25,000 masks or something.
Yeah. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, super down to earth. shoot him a message on Instagram. I guarantee you he's going to message you back.
I would say if you're interested in an apron, there's nowhere else to look.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a unique product.
If you think of it this way, pay $1 a day for a year.
Yeah.
Would you? This is how I always look at when I want to buy things. So I want this apron. We'll say it's $365. Would I pay $1 a day? Would I take $1 out of my wallet every day and put it on the table and say goodbye to it to be able to wear the apron for a year?
That's a good way to look at it.
Wouldn't even blink an eye.
No.
Because I've had that now for 3 years or maybe more.
Yeah.
So it's paid for itself.
Yeah,
5 times over.
One day with the little piece of wood shooting off the table saw.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it does offer serious protection.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've fumbled a chisel and it scrapes across or.
You could see it on the apron how many times it's protected you.
Even just chips coming off of like a dado blade or the table saw, they're hitting an apron instead of hitting your shirt and going through, and you get the little splinters that are sticking you in the belly.
Yeah, I'm a convert for sure. And in fact, I used to wear overalls as my go-to pants, and then I found these 1620s, and that works well because now I'm wearing the apron instead of the bib.
You're not doubled up.
Yeah. So that was a great question.
Yeah, we could talk about Calavera all day.
I know. So I'll read this next one. It's from Miles T. He's one of our patrons, actually.
Eat, drink, wine guy on Instagram.
Yeah. He asks, do you guys prefer to have a separate rip and cross-cut blade, or are you happy to use a combo blade for the majority of your work?
Well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago a little bit. Maybe it's more than a couple weeks now. I don't remember. It's
hard to tell now.
Yeah, especially after last week. Last week was like a... We did the podcast 3 times. So typically we have a combo blade in there. I should say all the time we have a combo blade in there. But I do like the idea of having a rip blade, a crosscut blade, and a plywood blade.
Be honest, we're the kind of guys that we want another saw with a dedicated blade in it.
That'd be nice.
Isn't that true?
Remember like those CD players, like a 300 disc? Imagine you had one that had different blades and you could just...
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. Saw stop, call me.
Yeah.
We, for practicality's sake, and just because we haven't, that's another $500 to invest in saw blades. We just keep a combo blade in there because we are, there's days where we might just be ripping and days where we might just be cross-cutting parts to length and days where we might just be breaking down plywood. But for the most part, we're cutting a variety of things in a day. Yeah. Today, for example, we did all 3. We ripped hardwood, we cross-cut hardwood, and we cut plywood, cross-grain, and rip. Yeah. So it's about convenience and about efficiency, not stopping and changing the blade. Yeah. But for those times where we are, let's say when we're in the rough stage where we're rough cutting and then joining, planing, and then getting to the point where we're ripping to joint the other side, it would be nice to have a ripping blade. Yeah. And that's something that we maybe think about doing this year, but for now, it's just a combo blade.
Yeah, and they're good quality blades.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a shout out. I'll say a little bit because we got our blades back from Ridge Carbide.
Yeah, we did talk about this last week, but I don't know what version of the podcast made it to air.
We sent our blades out for sharpening to Ridge. And one of them was a Ridge blade, and we said, let's try Ridge. Yeah. Because we're in New Jersey. They're literally 45 minutes north of here.
In where? Linden.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. And we said, let's try them. So we sent our Forest and our Ridge blade up there.
Yeah, that other one was actually, I thought it was a woodworker too. It was something else. It was Popular Tools or something. I think it was one that you got at Monteith.
Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't the Forest?
No, I thought it was too, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Unless they sent us somebody else's blade.
Yeah, that's funny, right?
It did say Berlin Woodwork on it though.
Okay. So we sent them up there and we just kept waiting and waiting. And then we called them a couple of weeks ago and turns out they sold the company
Yeah. To this guy, Paul, who owns Everlast Saw, which is a blade maker who is actually, he was the guy that was making the blades for Ridge.
Yeah. So we didn't know this.
Me neither. He bought the company and moved it to Kansas, where I guess he's from.
So they had to send all the blades from New Jersey to Kansas.
What a time to do a changeover. Like, right? We sent them December 15th.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just got them back. It was about a
month.
6 weeks.
Yeah. Right? Because December to January 15th.
5 weeks.
Yeah. So thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Really nice guy. I spoke to him on the phone. And they make nice looking blades. I mean, if you like Ridge Carbide, they make the blades. So, and they make custom blades. So if you have a specific application with, you could change the hook angle and the tooth pattern and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we did get our blades back. So we're combo guys.
Yeah.
Like 90-something% of the shops out there were combo blade users. What do we got? What's up next?
Got a question from our buddy John.
Okay.
John wants to know, what are you, John Peters, what are you working on now, and what upcoming projects are you really excited about?
Well, we're just wrapping up the sauce wall, as we call it. We have to do a couple little retakes for the filming part of it, but the real woodworking part is done. We're building, well, we don't really know the name of it. It's a secretary armoire wardrobe type of Queen Anne style piece that's going in a Victorian house, which essentially is going to be the cupboard for a Miele coffee machine.
Yeah, the whole bean coffee system.
Yeah, so we're working on that. It's actually a fun project because we decided we're going to do the case work and everything out of solid wood. It's built out of cherry, so every piece except the back, which is cherry ply, is solid wood, and it's a lot of fun to work with it.
Yeah, it's coming together nice.
Sometimes it feels like not wasteful, but like the top and the sub tops, they're all solid and they look beautiful, but then we have to cut holes in them for a sink. Yeah, because
there's was it Zip Water, I think is the brand, Hydro Tap with this. So there's a font, which is basically like a little sink that's like 5-inch diameter, and then it has a screen over the top of it so you can set your glass, and then any water that comes over will go down into this sink and drain through a regular drain. Like
I could see like more of like a commercial cabinet shop. All these elements would be web frames of plywood.
Yeah.
But then you have to get into like face framing, and that's not the look of this piece at all.
Right.
And the plywood on the on the casework's just not gonna look like solid wood.
Yeah, like this top, I'm looking at it right over here. There's the base cabinet case, we'll call it, and then there's a solid cherry countertop that sits on top of that. Then we have this transition piece that has an angle that steps back to the depth of the upper section.
Yeah.
Now, most guys would probably just put a piece of plywood and edge band it 2 inches because that's all you see, not even. But it's just easier to use.
It is
all cherry.
I mean, because once you start getting into the movement issues, especially with these. Now you have these glue ups that are 24, 26 inches wide. They're going to move back and forth. So once you get into that issue, now it's just so much simpler to do it all in one material, which is solid cherry. Everything's going to expand and contract in unison.
Yeah, you all of a sudden put a super stable piece of plywood up there, and you have an exploding cabinet.
Exactly. So,
and with the price of cherry, I mean,
let's face it, that if you have the skill and the tools to do it, it's very economical to work in cherry right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's only what, 7 board feet.
Yeah,
that top.
Yeah. Well, no, maybe a little bit more. It's probably
2 by 4.
Yeah, 1.5 boards maybe. Yeah, so 10. Let's just say it's 10 feet.
Yeah, so
including
we
the
won't
waste.
tell you what we're paying for cherry, but less than $50 for all that. Way less.
Yeah. So, and it's just, and it's nice. It's nice to work in that manner for a change.
And we glued up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, almost a dozen things anyway. So we might as well add one more glue up and repeat the same thing. Get some economy of scale with what we're doing instead of adding another process to the thing, and then you get a bunch of plywood in there.
Sure, because if we would have gone now, let's say we wanted to go with the side solid cherry, because that's a given. That's where our first design element is fixed. Those have to be solid for the right appearance and everything.
Yep.
Well, how are we going to go to like a top and bottom of plywood? Because now all of a sudden we're going to have these movement issues. So then we have to go to a different type of joinery, like a sliding dovetail or something.
Yeah, we're going to have to push all the movement to the back because we have to have a face frame on the front. So
it's actually was easier for us to do it this way.
Yeah.
Than have to figure out another method that we're not really that well versed in. We're good at this. So let's stick to what we know.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's just nice to have it's basically a solid wood.
So that's kind of like a little tip, for people. I mean, it's like what we do. For the most part, we stick to what we know and do best, and we'll introduce the new and challenging elements in smaller doses. Like
those feet I'm making.
That's right. We won't base the whole project, except for that bent chair that's coming up, on something we don't really know what we're doing. Every now and again we will, but we try, because we do this for a living, so we have to get this stuff in and out of the shop in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. There's only so much that the budget allows. So, I mean, I guess that segues into the what are we excited about? I'm excited about building those chaise lounges with those steam vent. We're going to be right after this, and we'll probably start laying the groundwork for that job next week in terms of getting things in water soaking to steam vent. We're going to be building some chaise lounges. I think we spoke about it before for a luxury condominium apartment kind of thing. I don't know what
if they have an indoor pool.
They have a spa level. So the entire floor of this high rise is a spa. So we'll be making these 4 chaise lounges out of quartered white oak. They have a steam vent back.
Yeah, almost like a C shape.
Yeah.
But, like a modern, because it's kind of blocky.
Yeah, it's...
But the corners, it's got 2 corners.
It's like a rectangle with radius corners.
Yeah, there you go.
How you would explain that. Custom upholstered cushions, and so that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have to make a whole jig. We goofed around with the concept, and we have an idea what we're going to do to actually do it for real this time.
I've been picking Silent Mill on Instagram. I'm sorry I don't know your government name. I've been picking his brain a ton on the steam bending, and he's been doing a lot of steam bending himself and has been for a while, from what I understand. So he's been helping me out with some advice.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have we got that mantle coming up, which is going to be a nice little piece of work.
All about that.
Yeah. And the cabinetry going out to Samir's place.
Oh yeah. We just sent out the samples today for that. So that's the job out in Easton that we've spoken about before.
That's gonna be pretty interesting too.
Yeah, so that looks like it's set in stone. We're just ironing out the final details in terms of finish and species. And,
but the design's all locked in.
So I think we're pushing ourselves into maybe June now.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that is looks fulfilling, we'll say.
Yeah, not white shaker painted.
We did do more than our share of that last year. we were probably rolling our eyes back every time somebody said they wanted, white painted shaker.
Probably no, we definitely were.
Maybe that fad has passed.
It hasn't.
All right. Well, can't.
Maybe they just realized they're barking up the wrong tree finally. They're like, oh yeah, that's those Greene Street guys.
Yeah.
What do you mean this shaker cabinet?
We're the only people that push back to the client when they tell us they want something and we don't want to do it.
Can't you just build it out of pine? We're gonna paint it anyway.
No.
Here's a good one. This is from Brian Hamlet Woodcraft on Instagram.
Right.
He said, after buying multiple mechanical pencils that cost more than the average person would even think about, have you become a laughingstock to your wife and children like I have? When Brian sent this in, I said, man, you're letting your wife know about these things? You're messing up.
That's, as you were reading it, that's the first thing that popped into my head. My wife has no idea I spend $30 on a single pencil.
Yeah. You got to keep that to yourself.
That's like, my wife thinks that I can't read her. She'll go to Nordstrom's and she'll go, oh yeah, I got this eyeliner today. It was, she tries to tell me like how much it was, and then she pauses, and that right then I know the next thing that comes out of her mouth is a lie.
Yeah. It was on sale.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't pass it up.
So I don't push because, like when I first got the Calavera apron, it started off as $200 when I told my wife. Then, maybe it came out again. It was like, after she sees it and we talk about it, then it's $300. One day she'll get the full price.
Maybe. Yeah. You got to take that to the grave. Yeah, I don't really talk about it. I do. I keep the significant spending under the umbrella of communication. I'll make sure that I vet those purchases, just because you don't want that to come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
But buying little pencils and stuff like that, those are easy to hide.
Yeah. Plus, your wife has a toolkit of her own, and
my wife is a hairstylist, so her scissors cost some of them are like $800-900 a pair. So.
Yeah. And my wife's got her little trips into the fashion world that she'll.
Yeah. I shot the text over last night. Hey, babe, you mind if I spend $150 on rasps? No. But I know that it's a push-pull, so she's getting $150 for something.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
She's flipping through the catalog in her mind right now.
But that's okay.
Yeah. We're probably more likely to be mocked by other woodworkers who, settle for like the $1.99 Pentel version of
I like my Pentel.
Yeah, I have one on a magnet over there. I use it.
Those are not $1.99.
They're not those yellow ones?
No, those are about $6.
Oh, they are? I see. I'm out of touch.
Yeah. Yeah, with your fancy German pencils.
Yeah. But I'm a Pika user now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my Pika.
They are cool. It's a really cool pencil.
Yeah.
Just a little too thick for my.
Yeah.
If they made a 0.9 in the same sort of design, I'd be all over it.
Yeah, it's easy now. I got the muscle memory for where it is in the apron. So
I do like the whole holster kind of idea.
Yeah, it keeps the tip from breaking off. Because on the German pencil, I have to wind up retracting the lead so I don't break it. Yeah, because it's long. The other pencil I had, that notebook that we kind of all laughed at.
Yeah, the Italian one.
The thing about that was, the backstory on this was, I ordered this Italian mechanical pencil, and it wasn't cheap either. And it was called a notebook pencil. Now I'm thinking, notebook, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It turns out it's about not quite half size, about 3/4 the size of a regular pencil.
Yeah, it was probably 4 inches long, maybe 4.5.
So, it was like a laughing stock kind of thing. That was funny. But, and then I don't know if I lost it or if Rich probably threw it away on me, because he's been known to do stuff like that. That pencil was perfect because it was short enough to fit in the bib pocket of the apron and not break off the lead. If I didn't have so many expensive pencils already,
just buy another one.
I'd be curious about buying another one of those.
I'm stuck with the Graph Gear 500.9.
Yeah, you like that one.
I've been using it for probably 2 years straight now. Mm-hmm. And I ain't going back.
No.
To the the Pentel Sharp .9, which I like, which are the yellow ones that you see a lot. I don't know. I like the weight of it. The .9 is the best middle ground for me between strength and the size of the line. I don't like a fat line.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm still hunting. The thing is that Rotring is a great pencil, but it's more really for drafting.
Yeah.
That's really where you want a pencil like that.
Because you can get a super fine point on there.
Yeah,
But you have to sharpen it constantly.
And when you're drafting, you learn to roll the pencil so that you keep that point.
Yeah.
Because I did that for a long time as a draftsman.
Here's a question. Can we expense a trip to Japan to check out the pencils?
That's right. I mean, we're nothing over here compared to the pencil fanaticism.
They'll have like an entire store of just pencils, and you can like customize the colors and the different types of and
that would
pens
be a
and
lot
stuff.
of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, because we'd probably see things we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
I had to bring a big suitcase.
A pencil pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe in 2022.
Let us know if you'd like to see that.
Yeah. Yes, if we could somehow finance that, film it, and make a movie about
Everybody
it.
wants to buy us tickets to Japan.
All right. Well,
This is a good one from Wild Willie.
yeah, you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. In a world where everyone is copying everyone, where do we draw the line and stay true to ourselves and where we come from as individuals? From Wild Willie, Wild Willie's Woodshop on Instagram.
Yeah. Where do we draw the line? I guess that's something that we probably do in our lives outside of work and our artistic endeavors. It must be part of your DNA. I think I said this last week or the week, must have been the week before, because last week is such a blur. Jeff sent over this quote, and I just loved it. Only dead fish go with the flow.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, do our own thing kind of guys anyway. And that's where the challenge and the joy is. So where do you put that line? I would say right up front.
Yeah, I think it's an intuitive kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're always pushing your individuality, I guess we'll call it, and your point of view and desires as a craftsman. And you feel the resistance, and you have to know when to back off. Mm-hmm. And you have to learn, the cues as to when you're just fighting a losing battle. And you have to always make the decision of whether it's worth it to concede or compromise and take a job and do it a way that somebody else wants to do it, not
Like
necessarily
the whole
way.
Pinterest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how many jobs, or not jobs, they were inquiries, did we get last year that we felt they were sending us the very same Pinterest photos as, I want something like this. And we were just, we'd rant and rave here in the shop, and we'd call them and be nice.
Yeah.
Because we never dismiss anything, but we do hope to influence. And sometimes people might think that, well, it's going to be less expensive if I get something painted white, and for us, we've mentioned this in the past. It's not. It's actually a little bit more expensive to do it that way for us. And we hope that we can reach a middle ground where we're doing something that serves them, because that's the bottom line, but also creates opportunity for us to have some joy in our work, which is really what we're all about here. I think we've all heard the saying, some jobs feed the soul and some jobs pay the rent. Right.
So if you're not paying the rent, you got to take the jobs that pay the rent. But if the rent's covered, well, then you can afford to to stick to your guns and only do it the way that you want to do it.
And you know, if you have a strong creative vision, sometimes people don't know that they want what you're dreaming up instead of what they've already seen. So I always love to pitch something to somebody and say, how about this?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get shot down like right away, but not usually.
Yeah, and like, you know, for example, those chaise lounges that we were talking about, that's not our design.
No.
It's a rip-off of a commercially available design that they couldn't...
They need to resize it.
The size was wrong, but you know what? I'm going to fucking enjoy building that just as much as I would something that we design, because
because
it's all about the process.
There.
Yeah. And, you know, we're doing it. I guarantee you they're not steam bending it. So.
No, those are factory made. There's a section of a production plant set up to just crank out those parts.
Yep.
There's a machine creating the arms, and then there's somebody at the end putting all the parts together.
Yep. Yeah, so there's always a place in the job to put your stamp on it.
Yeah. We know Willie, he's extremely creative. He's done a lot of very cool stuff. So I always like to hear from Will. He's very cool. And when he was here as our guest, I was pretty fascinated by everything that he'd done.
Yeah, I'd like to have Willie back on.
Yeah.
Especially because the audio got so messed up on that episode. Still a mystery.
I'm afraid this next question from one of our patrons, Tom M., he's going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah. You go first.
Rangers or Devils, he wants to know. I have to say, I don't watch hockey. It's one of those sports where I keep saying to myself, you know, I should watch some more hockey. This looks like a good game. And I would say would definitely be a Rangers fan, being from New York. And the only time I really watched it was when I was living out in San Francisco, and the Rangers were in the Stanley Cup with who was it? It was Vancouver, and my buddy, who was the bass player in the band, he was from Vancouver. So of course he was a big hockey fan, and he could kind of explain the nuances of the game to me. It was a lot more enjoyable, because if you're just watching it and you don't really know all of the rules,
especially games like that where there's like penalties and, you know, not knowing what an offsides,
right.
Like
and it's very fast paced. So what about you? Do you watch any hockey?
I don't watch sports at all. I grew up.
I knew that.
I grew up playing football. I played football from 5 to 18, and I played lacrosse. And I don't know if I ever played like t-ball or anything like that when I was real little. But I don't have any interest in sports anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's the commercials. It's the announcers. It's the constant
the hyperbole.
Stoppages with penalties, and it does nothing for me anymore. I'll if I go to somebody's house and hang out, have a couple of drinks and eat some food and watch a football game, I'm fine with that, but you're not going to catch me in my free time by myself watching a sports event. I did get into hockey about it's probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and I did watch a good bit of Devils hockey. If I was going to watch hockey, I would root for the Devils. I did then. Been to a couple Devils games. But no, I don't follow.
Yeah.
I'm a Giants fan, a Devils fan, a West Virginia Mountaineers fan in terms of football. And I guess there are other sports, but I just don't.
Growing up, we played in New York. This is now, we're talking about the 70s. And not even the late 60s. I was born in 62. So you played sports in the schoolyard or in the street based on what was going on TV. So we played a lot of roller hockey and street hockey with those. Did you ever see those black pucks that they use for street hockey? No. It was this hard plastic puck because it could slide on the blacktop.
Yeah.
Of course, we had no padding or anything like that, but we were taking slap shots.
Oh yeah,
the
so
poor kid who's the goalie,
It's like a normal hockey puck is that black rubber.
Right.
This was like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a Delrin, kind of like a hard black plastic.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? Remember, this is what we used to use when we didn't have one. Remember the old Duncan yo-yos?
Yeah.
That's what we used to use if we didn't have a puck.
Oh, my God. That'll knock you out.
Yes.
Definitely bust some teeth out.
So, growing up in Brooklyn...
That's small. It's hard to keep your eye on.
Yeah. You could have, checking and playing football. Everything was on blacktop.
Yeah.
There was no grass to be seen anywhere.
I love playing lacrosse. Lacrosse was a really fun sport. I played that from I think like 4th grade to 10th grade.
Yeah.
Then I got a job and I was like, screw this. I'm gonna go make money. Because I was an okay athlete, but I wasn't great in football and lacrosse. But I remember like breaking a kid's hand through his glove with lacrosse is cool. You get to hit people with a metal stick.
Yeah.
Like hockey, you can check people like a little bit, but in lacrosse, like you can really wail. You can really wail on people.
It looks like a great game.
It's fun. It's like hockey and soccer and football, kind of like all wrapped up in one.
Yeah. I would have. I mean, we didn't have access to anything like that. Did you ever see that movie Stand By Me about like there's these kids get together and they like there's this dead body in the woods, but it's sort of like a myth in a way. It's like they're gonna go look for it.
Yeah.
Growing up, when I was that age, that myth surrounded a grass field. Like you heard there was this grass field somewhere. You're not quite sure where, but like if you take the L and you get off at this street and it's like you got to go through this neighborhood and there's a grass field there.
That's funny.
It is. It was a different world back then. It was, I mean, even though I grew up in essentially a city, a real urban environment, compared to today, it had a very small town, kind of almost Mayberry-esque kind of feel compared to today. Your parents would scream out the window when it was time for you to come home. That's the kind of neighborhood I lived in.
Well, it touches back on like that depersonalization of society, like of people's jobs not being an identity anymore. And, because all those people in your neighborhood, that was Steve from the shop down there. And that was, Mary who worked at the corner store. And so you knew everybody. But now I go over here, there's a supermarket. I don't know any of those people.
I still remember, I lived with my grandmother growing up. I was probably 6 or 7 years old when I would have to go to the store with her. I still remember the butcher's name because, that's where you got meat. There was no grocery store in those days in the neighborhood. You went to each individual place. And I used to love all like the shavings on the floor. And I used to call I guess he was called Mr. Joe. His name was Joe.
Yeah.
I still know him as Mr. Joe, the butcher.
Yeah, I remember going places like with my dad, and I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
The hardware store, the pharmacy, or with my mom. The hardware store, the pharmacy, the bait and tackle shop, and seeing the same people.
There's something great about that.
Yeah, it's not as much a thing anymore.
No.
It's definitely still a thing in places, I'd say more towards the center of the country.
Yeah.
And there are, I guess we go places like that too. A little bit, but it's just not as widespread as it used to be.
Yeah, some of the trade stores, because it's a small group of consumers, if you go into, but even like Monteith, where I used to go get lumber all those years. You go there, the guy's retired, and there's 3 people working there that don't know you and you don't know them, and everything at once, all like the 10 or 12 years you spent building that relationship is just completely gone all of a sudden.
That's like we went to Bullet Lock in Long Branch. Did we talk about this last week?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think we went on Wednesday.
Did we? No. We went the day that we filmed.
Yeah.
Because we had a race to get back.
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
Bullet Lock is a really cool old school, like you walk in, it's like all 1970s wood paneling and those like old cases, like display cases of door hardware and stuff like that to make, keys and stuff. And like, all the guys there. It's Jack and Frank and it's just nice to be able to have a rapport with someone. And
these guys are real experts.
Right.
They spent their lives working there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That was a nice diversion. John Peters again. He wants to know. This is a leading question, isn't it? Any new shop upgrades or tools in the near future?
Yes. I know John's got some stuff coming too. Yeah. So we have, I just heard not too long ago, they weren't in yet, but so we have a new planer and a new shaper coming in from Oliver. They're out in Washington State. So those should be on a truck this week. And we should probably have them by maybe this time next week.
We're really looking forward to that, though. We're Greene Street, but the shop's definitely turning blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not that we have any bad machines, but
these are upgrades.
Yeah.
These are upgrades.
So we're getting rid of the planer. We have a couple people interested in that. Mm-hmm. And the shaper will be finding a new home over here, which we have some uses for that coming up, building the exterior door. And
we forgot about the Dutch door with the stained glass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Yeah. So shout out to Oliver Machinery.
Yeah.
If you don't know about them, they're a long-standing American company. Their machinery is made in Taiwan at this point. But
like all the other brands.
just like our saw stop was made. I mean, what are you going to do? This is it. There's not the manufacturing presence here in America.
There's not even the infrastructure for it.
No, but they're very nice folks, and
the tools are really packed with a lot of value. So.
They're feature rich.
Yeah,
super competitively priced, and we can't say enough about them. I mean, we wouldn't have forked over the cash if we had any reservations. Yeah. So we'll be sporting 2 new machines next week or 2.
Yeah. It'll be a process to get them
in there,
the street to back here inside the shop.
We're not really a loading dock forklift kind of place.
I was thinking, you think Ed has an engine hoist?
I don't know. He might. I could ask him.
He's got a forklift, doesn't he?
Ed's got a Bobcat that doesn't run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ed is a mechanic that lives across the street.
You see, I have that suspicious thing on my screen over there.
Yeah, what is that?
I think it's Siri.
Oh, Siri on the screen.
I better X that out. We don't want to run into the same problems we had last week.
Yeah, last week the computer went off twice. We had to reshoot. We had to reshoot like an hour and a half's worth of podcast. And each time our answers got shorter and shorter, and I think we were probably talking faster too.
Can you believe we've been going for an hour and 7 minutes already?
No.
I would have said maybe like 35.
Yeah, so
stay tuned. We got a truckload of tools coming.
Yeah, and we'll definitely, do some video and things like that on those tools because
I mean, we're going to have to learn how to use a shaper because
we don't have one.
Yeah, I mean, I have I've run a shaper before, but never with shaper cutters.
No, usually they have like the big router bits on them.
Yeah, we used to run like a 3/4 inch collet, I think, with big bits on a shaper, like on job sites when I was a finish carpenter. We make our own window stool and stuff like that.
That's what we had with that little Bridgewood.
Which, similar process, but again, it's just another little learning curve. And hey, I embrace the new stuff to learn. So
yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go, Mr. Peters. And we'll have to hear about his new additions as well.
Yeah, I won't spoil the surprise. I'm not sure if he's talking about it yet, but
all right.
We got one from our friends Low Country Modern on Instagram. They changed their
reading this.
They changed their Instagram handle. It used to be Loco Modern, now it's Low Country Modern. On a scale of 1 to 10, how awful are epoxy river tables, and what will everyone do with them in 20 years? Also, thank you guys for crushing it and giving us a fantastic podcast. Cheers.
Wow.
No, thank you for listening.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, in this answer, I don't want to insult anybody. It's just my opinion, but I would say 10. I'm not a fan. I know Jeff will answer. He's not a fan either, but it's just one of these things that might have been cute at the beginning that just it turned into a caricature of itself, and
it's a bastardization.
Yeah. So once it jumps to shark and all that other stuff and all those phrases, that tired phrase fits the epoxy river table perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 10 plus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I just don't like it. Should have just been that one-off thing where somebody was like, "Yeah, look at this thing I made," and people were like, "Oh, that's cool." Right. And then we just went on building stuff that was like real furniture. I just don't. You're taking the natural beauty of a live edge piece of wood, or sometimes now it's not even a live edge. People are just like putting random pieces of wood with epoxy in the middle, and you're covering it up with this synthetic. I guess maybe not all epoxies are synthetic. I don't know. I don't know the chemical makeup of epoxy, but you're filling it with this petroleum product, this neon colored or
it's a little silly.
It's just I don't get it. I mean, we live outside, I'll say, of a pretty affluent area, and we work in homes of people who have more money than we'll ever have. There's a reason we don't see these tables in any of these homes.
That's right. That's a great point. Those things will all wind up in somebody's basement. I mean, I won't even say the dumpster, because they'll just kind of go down the food chain until they find a way into a dorm room. Or
you'll find them at a garage sale in 5 years for pennies on the dollar what they paid.
Yeah,
and so we're selling the planer. And I get a message from some guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, would you be willing to trade like carpentry service for the planer?" I said, "No, I appreciate the offer, but we're furniture makers, so we're really looking for cash on this one." He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a furniture maker too. I do stuff with like live edge and epoxy," and I. Deep down, the snarky woodworker in you wants to say, like, dude, please don't lump yourself in with us because you're not cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. We can be a little, once you start bringing those things up, we can get a little snarky, pretentious.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a like you said, a caricature of our craft almost.
It is. Like the Dutchman, like the store-bought Dutchman.
Yeah, I speaking of Wild Willie, he had to put some real Dutchmans in like a table that he was making, and I was busting his balls a little bit. I said you should have used a slab stitcher, which is this thing that you can buy, and it's a router template with pre-made like butterflies, and they come in all different shapes, and it's just I don't know, it's just getting ridiculous.
Yeah, well. Luckily, there are people out there that are still preserving the craft and the artistry. What can I say? People like Low Country, he's doing it, and Willie, and tons of people we don't even know about. So,
and hey, if you make river tables,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. It's just hey, everybody's got an opinion. This is just ours.
Yeah, it's just our opinion, our take on it.
You might hate craftsman style furniture, or
anything.
Might hate everything we make.
There's probably people out there like I don't particularly like that heavy period furniture with all of the carving and
Chippendale,
all that stuff. But I mean, to appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into it, I can't touch any of that stuff. I mean, that's a skill set that I don't have the least bit of.
Yeah, like I don't want in my house. We were just talking about cabriole legs today, like a buffet with cabriole legs, and the big brass pulls with the big back plate, Queen Anne. Like, that's just not my shtick.
But we don't feel the same way about that as we do.
No.
Epoxy.
Because I'll make that piece with the cabriole legs, but I don't want to make an epoxy table.
How much, if somebody came to us and said they wanted an epoxy table with store-bought steel, what are the hairpin legs? what would we charge to do it?
I don't think we could put a price on it. They'd have to be waving a wad of cash.
Yeah, what would the fee be? What would the turn up your nose fee be for something like that?
There'd have to be some kind of NDA. Like, you can't say that we made it.
Yes.
It really goes against everything that we stand for. That's a big chunk of hazardous material basically between those pieces of wood.
Yeah, so hopefully they never wind up in a dumpster and they just keep getting handed down.
Yeah, that stuff is gonna do some damage to the earth as it degrades.
All right, so we'll move on to Jack Thornton 98 on Instagram. He asks, have you used many exotic woods before?
I'll start off. Jack, we want to know how the apprenticeship is going.
Yeah.
Let us know. I don't know if you started it or if you're still doing it, but let us know. We by sort of virtue don't really use many exotic woods or really any at all. Just for sustainability purposes, for the sustainability in terms of the shipment. All of our wood is coming from. I'd say, I'll preface it with this. Sapele is about as exotic as it gets for us. We have bought some very small quantities of accent wood for certain things, the canary wood and the purple heart, stuff like that. But
we're talking about like a board foot.
A board foot, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know where purple heart comes from.
Probably a lot of that stuff. It's either Africa or South America where all those...
For some reason, I want to think that purple heart was more domestic than that. Yeah. But if you know, let us know. Like getting it here from South America, the stuff that we buy is probably sourced within, we'll say 750 miles from here. Yeah. Most of it. Yeah. The oak is coming from Appalachia, and the maple is coming from maybe at the furthest, like the border of Canada.
Yeah. And as far west as maybe Ohio.
Yeah. So all the cherries coming from Pennsylvania. It's just better for us that way. I don't know. It's basically as simple as that.
The only time I ever used anything exotic was back when U.S. Mahogany was still in business. They used to have a couple of shelves with tiny little pieces and chunks of woods that I'd never heard of. And I got myself... a piece that could fit into my hand, a piece of zebra wood.
It's cool looking stuff.
Yeah, and I used it for sort of like these wedges in the breadboard ends, and to hold the little braces together on the bottom of a bedside table, but really, I mean, nothing to speak of. Just
I think that kind of stuff is better suited to making pens and
that's a good idea.
Turning things like that, and for use as accent wood in a jewelry box or like a humidor, maybe make the center panel of the top of the box.
I've heard they're hard to glue up and stuff like that too because they're so oily.
I've worked with Wengi a little bit actually in the past, and yeah, just I don't know. I like a more fine-grained wood than that.
Yeah, it's not in our vernacular for the most part, and if we want to accent something, typically we'll use a native wood and maybe even dye it if we had to get that ebonized kind of look to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of oak with walnut, cherry with walnut, stuff like that. If you need small accents, it's easy to mix in something like that, like walnut, or you need a lighter wood maple.
So the answer is we really haven't. And for a variety of reasons, we just probably won't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Possibly if we got into some veneer work or something like that.
Yeah. And I think if we were to use something exotic, like a large scale, that would be the way to go.
Yeah. All right.
This is a good one from Pat J. Axon Jackson, 508 on Instagram. He was the winner of our giveaway. What the hell was that for?
Our first giveaway with the tools and stuff?
Yeah, it was the second giveaway we did.
That was
the first one we did was our 1,500 Instagram follower giveaway.
Okay. And what was the other one?
I don't know what it was for. 1 year for our 1 year anniversary of the company. So hopefully he's putting those tools to good use. Pat wants to know, is the price always the price? When is it appropriate to give discounts?
That is a good question. I mean, it's a slippery slope if you start discounting. Jeff and I know what the cost of everything is, and so we do a full. In fact, Jeff tried to mail out a proposal this morning, and the file was so big it wouldn't go over the regular mail server.
It was like 40 megabytes.
Yeah, because we make drawings and all the full breakdown and a written breakdown of everything. It's very, very thorough. It takes a good bit of time because we want to explain everything, and it sort of sets the tone for who we are as a company. Mm-hmm. So when the price comes in and it's probably higher than others, you could see it's like if you walk into a Jag showroom or let's say a Kia showroom, there's going to be a difference of how you're handled as a customer and the feel and the fit of things. So that's part of it. So we try not to do that. We know what the costs are and we know what we're worth. And as long as we're able to keep paying ourselves, we don't feel the need to engage in that sort of thing. We don't come in with any pie in the sky prices. That's the first thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, basically once you have the number, there's no discount really.
Right.
Like we might value engineer, which is a term that keeps coming up more and more. So like you want to change some things in the job to bring the cost down.
Right.
That we can do, but it looks bad if you come in and say, okay, the job is 20,000, and they say, well, it's a little bit high, and you say, all right, I can do it for 15 or 18. Well, where are you just pulling this $2,000 out of? It's looking like that you're ripping people off, or you're charging too much, and people get a little bit turned off from that. And I think it's a bad reputation to sort of create. So you need to read the job from the beginning. This is something that we routinely do.
Way to put it.
We price out the job amongst ourselves, look at the numbers and think about the client and the job and what else is going on in the job, what the moving parts are, and say, can we get 20,000 or do we need to bring it down to 18,000? And then we send off the price. And if it's too much, there's really no going back on that.
Then we don't get the job. But most of the time, I mean, we don't lose a job because the price is close. We'll lose a job because we say it's 20,000 and they wanted it to be 5,000.
Yeah.
Not because we're not going to lose the job over 10%. It's just not going to happen. They either have the money and the taste and the desire for what we're doing, or they're going to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. That's it. And a lot of times there's some sticker shock, but people tend to see the value in what we're providing. And just like me and Jeff do all the time, we didn't ask 1620 to lower the price on their pants.
No.
We both looked at each other and we went, oh my God, these pants are expensive. And then we bought them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way it is. You don't go into the store and start bargaining with the clerk.
No.
So why should people start bargaining with us?
Yeah, I guess the problem is we're like Neiman Marcus in a world of Walmart's kind of deal. I don't know if that's a good analogy because I don't do much shopping, but
you don't go into Neiman and start trying to knock the price down.
Right, but everybody thinks they're shopping at Walmart.
Yeah. Oh,
they say,
so
these jeans only cost $19.99 at Walmart.
Yeah.
Why? How come they're $150 here?
yeah. But this next part of the question, when is it appropriate to give discounts? We do give discounts, but we do that straight up front. Like if there's a situation where we think somebody is where a discount's appropriate, we go into the proposal, we go into the job with that right on the line.
Yeah.
It doesn't come after the fact.
Yeah, I'd say very rarely. Like a good example is this Chaise Lounge job. This is a job with a very fixed budget. Mm-hmm. So they contact us, say we have this, we need these built. Can you price it for me? Okay, we price it, send it over. All right, listen, we're $600 over budget. Can you lower the price? Yes.
Yeah.
That's a situation where you can do it.
And that's more like a commercial client.
Yeah, but even if a residential client was like, okay, we got $10,000 to do this job, and you said it's $10,500, can you do it for $10,000?
Right.
We're probably just going to make it work because it's not.
It's not enough to make it look like it is what it is. We're taking that money out of our pockets.
Yeah, and it's not like a situation where the client says, "Oh no, it's too much money," and you say, "Well, wait,
Right.
I can do it for $4,000
Yeah.
less." That's
Yeah.
a bad move, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's good to have these open lines of communication with your clients and keep things professional, but what's the word I'm looking for? Not friendly, but you want to be comfortable and have real conversations and be open about budgets and all those things so that.
Well, we understand that cost is an issue. It's usually number one.
Yeah, that's why when people get all up in arms about us asking for a budget, I'm like confused because it's the most important thing at the beginning of a job is we need to know your budget.
Yeah, because we can design around a specific number and say, this is what you can get for this amount of money. Because we're building it from scratch, so we could leave out the parts that take a lot of time and cost a lot of money and work around those things.
I could design you a table that costs $400.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're going to want it or that we're going to want to build it, but we could certainly design it.
Yeah.
Something that takes a half a day with very little material.
And other things like Big Mike, we made him that table. Mm-hmm. That was basically on spec. We do some things on spec where we'll build something for a colleague that's in a different trade. Mike owns a restaurant. We thought it was a good idea and a good trade to build him a table that he would put in his restaurant and put a sign up that says, Greene Street Joinery built this table.
Yeah. That's a good example.
Yeah.
If it's like a marketing kind of thing or advertisement kind of thing, certainly. Yeah, I mean, that was like, I think we charged him like $300 or something. Mm-hmm. Just pay for the material.
Right. What's next?
This is a good one. This is very appropriate.
What are you doing for hand tool storage? Yeah, I'm thinking about a small chest under my bench. That's from Neil G. And we know that's Neil Tango Golf, Neil TG on Instagram. We've been talking about this.
Yeah, this just came up about a day or two ago.
Yeah.
So over here, we have, if you're listening, I'm pointing to my left. Rob's bench is there. Mine is on the other side of the side door. Rob's bench is going to move down towards the door, and the shaper is going to go between Rob's bench and the bandsaw. So we were talking about maybe building a couple tool cabinets to go above the benches. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the kind you open up and your planes and chisels are sitting in there and your marking tools. So it'd be like a little bit of a labor of love. And it would be, really nice looking too. It'd be something we just enjoy having.
Yeah, because I guess to answer your question more clearly, what am I doing? What am I doing? I have just a bunch of cobbled together little holders that I made like as I went. So I made like a chisel rack, and then I drilled holes in it to hold my burnisher, my marking gauge, my chip breaker screwdriver, my fret saw. Then I got like my shoulder plane is sitting on that. and my router plane is sitting on that. Then I have a thing to hold my Japanese saws, and I have my mortise butt plane up there and my spoke shave. So it's all just cobbled together as, you know, I haven't taken the time to, it's one of those things that gives me anxiety to think about how to lay something out like this and be, still be relevant when you get in new tools or replace tools that you already have. So it really has to be a conscious design.
Well, you know, that's one bonus for having these lifetime tools. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not going to replace your Lee Nielsen plane with the same type of plane, so that'll always have a spot. Yeah, that I'm with you. I have. It's like a city that just grew without any master plan.
No city manager.
Oh, I got a new set of chisels. Got to hang them up somehow. Let's stick it here right next to the old chisels.
Yeah.
So it's a real just, you know, catch as catch can kind of thing. And when you're busy, it's hard to, you know, these are projects that you'd spend multiple days on. Uh-huh. And so carving that time out is very, very difficult. But we'd love to have some really nice, dedicated little cabinets, where it, you know, the kind where it looks like it's almost a display when you open it up, but it's very functional. It's like a wall-mounted tool chest in a way. That would be awesome.
Yeah, where the I don't want to say the lid. If it was a box, it would be the lid.
Yeah,
but
the
opens
doors
up. The door opens up, and that's actually like a cabinet in and of itself, basically. Yep. Because we have the door there, they can open up into the door, and then you just close it if you have to get out.
Yeah, we don't use that door much anyway. No. So that's what we're doing. Let us know what you're doing. I mean, send us some pictures. Let's check it out.
Yeah,
maybe give us some inspiration.
I'd say, you know, make sure your stuff is accessible. So if you do a chest under the bench, you don't want to have to be digging around in there constantly.
No, yeah, drawers are always good. Yeah, but
this is a long one. I have to use the restroom, so maybe we'll just I'll cut the podcast for a second unless you want to talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, we'll talk amongst ourselves. So while Jeff takes a little bit of an aside, we've been going for an hour and a half now. This is week 3, just Jeff and myself, and we're getting on pretty well. We're enjoying our time, and we've adjusted to having just 2 of us here in the shop, as you know, or maybe didn't. Rich retired at the beginning of the year, and he's off playing golf and drinking beer. 2 of the things that he, I guess, needed more time to do. What can I tell you? We're excited about working on some projects coming up, and I'm just going to tread water here. Don't want to get into any new territory until Jeff gets back. Want to thank everybody that's been listening to us, and especially our patrons. It's unbelievable when Jeff sends me a text and he says, "Oh, we just got another patron," and I just have to laugh, and I say, I can't believe somebody is paying us to do this. You know, it really helps us out quite a bit, and maybe one day we'll actually earn enough to do this for a day.
You run out of stuff to talk about?
Yeah, just about. I'm glad you're back.
They're just picking up their recycling. Sammy's going crazy out there.
Yeah. So you want to read the question?
Yeah, let me get a sip of water. So that's a long one. All right, here we go. Hey guys, I didn't want to type a novel, but I hear you guys asking for more background. I'm a 26-year-old from Maryland with a degree in forest management, but in my 3rd year of being a carpenter/contractor. I've been into woodworking since high school, and it was the main reason I got into carpentry instead of a career in forestry. I have a basement workshop with a decent amount of machines and tools. I inherited from my grandfather. He was a cabinet maker / master craftsman to the same quality as you guys. I appreciate that. I recently built a spalted maple barn door for a family friend and decided to put an ad on Facebook saying I can build custom barn doors in the style and dimensions you need. It got over 3,000 views and landed over 10 jobs in just under 2 months. But after listening to your podcast, I was really questioning my custom label. I have much respect to the craft, so my main question is, what makes it custom? If I'm building a specific dimension for their opening, does that make it custom? I would love to hear your take on this. And then there's a follow-up question. No question in my mind, it's custom. No.
And he's building them one at a time.
Right.
I mean, almost if they were all like similar to the point where you might not be able to tell them apart, they're still somewhat custom because it's one guy making these by hand.
Right.
It's for this person. If the dimensions happen to be the same, well, that's just because the door openings are the same.
Yeah. Like an analogy would be you build shaker benches and you build them to size for the client. I need one that's 6 feet long. I need one that's 10. That's custom.
Right.
Just because it's a design that exists out there doesn't mean that it's not custom.
That's right.
You're building it for this specific client to their specifications. So that's what makes it custom.
Yeah, I'll go back to the clothing analogy. When you have a suit made, for the most part, it's in a style. It's within a style that's well established. Lapel width and all this other stuff.
And the fabric is coming from the same place.
Right. So it's just you choose the fabric, which is essentially like choosing maple or whatever, and somebody fits it to you. And that's the dimension. That's a full-on custom suit. And it's just built within the vernacular of, a sports suit or an evening suit, something like that. So
and I hope we're not making anybody self-conscious or questioning their...
it's custom. It's full-on custom.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what custom is.
Yeah.
And then his follow-up question. Second, been wanting to launch an Instagram and start my woodworking business, but have been putting it off to build my portfolio. How long should you wait and how big should your portfolio be before launching your business? Thanks for the time and inspiration, John. John Welsh 21 on Instagram.
I'm going to say right off, if you had 10 jobs in 2 months, you've already got a business.
Yeah. It's never too early to start plugging away on social media, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of us turn up our nose to the whole idea of social media and trying to develop your brand. It's like so cringy. Your brand on social media. It's 2021. You don't have a choice.
That's right.
Do you want to die off with the dinosaurs or do you want to try and have your business flourish? I mean, it's
especially you old guys out there, like people my age, get with it or go retire.
Yeah, because that's where people are finding these things now.
They're not looking through the yellow pages. And they're not even really searching for a website anymore. Like when I got on the internet and built my first website, there was nobody there. And that's what drove most of my business.
Yeah, like if you look at our Google listing analytics, the traffic to the website from Google searches is nothing compared to the traffic that comes from Instagram and Facebook.
That's where it's all at. And I started my business with no jobs and no portfolio because I needed a job.
Just $1 and a dream.
That was basically it. I put a sign in my front yard. I might as well have been opening up a lemonade stand because that was what I had.
We should think about that on the side.
Yeah. So listen, man, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
So more power to you. And if you need confidence, I hope this gave you some.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say get that Instagram going.
Yeah.
Send us send over the link. We'll give you a follow.
Yeah, definitely. More the merrier.
Got another one from a patron here. It's from our buddy Dave Meyer, who is Dave Never Broke Meyer on Instagram.
Oh, man, that's something we aspire to.
Yeah. What are your best practices for disposing of rags or towels used in applying oil-based finishes? I would like to know the safest way to dry and dispose of them. Thanks. Yeah. Again, super appropriate. We got some sitting right over there.
That's right.
And probably not the safest form of disposal.
Yeah, we just kind of dry them on the edge of a pail.
Yeah.
And usually in the warmer months, we have about a dozen or so those plastic brute pails outside that we store wood in. So there's always a couple empty ones. And in the warmer months, we do it outside. We just set them outside and let them dry out.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times in the summer, we'll have like a garbage can outside, like with garbage in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For like gloves that have finish on them and rags and stuff. And I like to like lay them on the top, and if it rains, they get wet, which I think that is probably the recommended way is to soak them with water and then throw them away. Yeah. Like not let them sit anywhere. They get soaked and then you throw them away and they get taken away or you take them to the dump or something like immediately.
We should mention the type of oil we use is pretty non-toxic.
Yeah, I don't know about the combustibility though of tung oil.
Yeah, but as far as like leaving it out and letting water hit it and
that's
run off and stuff,
that's no problem.
It's really a non-toxic thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you want to avoid is like crumpling up and having like a stack of them.
Right.
Because then the heat can build up and they can actually spontaneously combust. We have a couple sitting over there. They're completely laid out open. And, you know, tung oil is a drying oil, as I call it. And it doesn't evaporate, but it oxidizes and it does burn off, for lack of a better term. So they will just kind of plasticize and get hard, and then at that point, as far as I know, they're pretty benign.
Yeah, we just throw it away.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to wash a rag out. I'd say don't take our advice on that because we're
not experts,
flying by the seat of our pants. But I've kicked around the idea of getting a red metal garbage can. Even then, though, you could have a fire in the shop with that, and it could still be a problem.
I mean, we'd probably wind up putting it outside the door if we had one.
Yeah.
They're just, supposed to be like fireproof or whatever because they probably don't let in oxygen.
Yeah, it's like an ash for like ashes and stuff, I guess. When I was a finish carpenter, like a couple months before I started, they had a dump trailer on a job, and they threw the floor guys threw a bunch of stain-soaked rags in it and actually set the trailer on fire.
Yeah, that stuff. I mean, like the regular kind of...
Like a Minwax.
Yeah. Those things are an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We have a very specific finish we use, so it's non-toxic, and we don't use a lot. It's two guys here, so we don't have a lot of oily rags or anything. But I would suggest doing your homework on it as well.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. So this next question, Neil
again.
James Brown or Parliament Funkadelic?
I gotta go with James Brown.
Oh yeah, of course, the Godfather.
Yeah,
not even close. Parliament Funkadelic, from what I understand, is a separate band from Parliament.
Really?
Yeah, I think they used a different lineup. And of course they kind of get intermingled. But I'm really more of an old school guy. I do kind of like some of the dance funk that they did, and they broke some ground. Bootsy Collins on bass. It's arguably the guy who...
I can't even really name a Parliament Funkadelic song. Granted, I'm not from that time. I didn't grow up in that time period, but like I listen to James Brown. I don't listen to Parliament Funkadelic.
We want the funk.
Yeah, I know that song. That's a good song. Yeah.
Flashlight. That was Bernie Worrell on keyboards who did the bass line, and it had all those, those bends in it. He really was like the first guy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have obviously, another classic giant of
They don't
music.
have a line like this, though. I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody touches James. I mean, that's just the way it is.
He is a crazy mamma jamma.
Yeah, we love James Brown here.
The funky D.
There might not even be Parliament Funkadelic without James Brown. I mean, they
probably not.
They took it in a
paved
completely
the way for a lot of people.
Different direction. But yeah, without James, there's a lot of people that don't make it.
Yeah.
All right, so we settled that. How much time do you, Jeff, spend on social media? This is good. Patreon, etc., answering messages, looking at comments, and generally communicating through that medium. Miles T, our patron. Jeff will answer. I'm going to say from my end watching, it's an astounding number because it's not even relegated to a specific time like, oh yeah, between 6 and 7, I'm going to work on it. It's something that has to happen all day long. And it goes on into the evening and it starts early in the morning before we even get to the shop.
Yeah, so I actually, when I saw this come in from Miles, I wanted to look at my screen time on my phone because it'll tell you how long you spend on these apps. So let me see. I just pulled it up. It looks like... Let's see.
Now, is this going to be just for today or...
This is daily average. Usually this comes up on like Sunday. It sends me like a little report.
So you tell me.
So it looks like Instagram, I spend about 49 minutes a day. That was my average, I guess, for last week. Hour and 39 minutes on social. I'd say that sounds pretty accurate. About an hour a day.
Yeah.
Not all of that is like necessarily communicating with people. I do browse and I look at other people's stuff and things like that. I get Patreon's not on there. I don't spend a lot of time on Patreon. I try and put some stuff up for you guys, but it's mostly just the after show that we do.
The other thing is you're very good at it. Like if I was to try and do some of those same things, it takes me quite a bit longer. Like even my simple Instagram posts, you have to do these things. Like now I go on Reddit all the time because I'm like one of those nut jobs that is on Let's Trade Pedals. So I'm always swapping guitar pedals, and I'll zoom over to Imgur, post a picture to Imgur because with Reddit you got to post an Imgur link, and then get back. Now watch my thumbs fly through that. So I am capable.
Yeah, that's a good point because like an hour for me in Instagram time is like an eternity because like I'll pop in, I'll be having a conversation with someone, I'll pop in, shoot a message. I mean, that takes 5 seconds, and then pop back out.
Yeah.
I mean, all day I'm literally
while
all
you're doing something, you're working and you're answering a question to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, for example, yesterday I'm working on these feet, and I'm talking to Wild Willie and what's the guy's name we're talking to today?
In Michigan.
Is it Scott or Todd?
I can't remember.
Anywho, talking to him, sending videos back and forth, saying, yeah, I'm doing this. Look at this. What do you think? So, yeah, an hour is realistically a lot of time.
Yeah, because you're adept at it.
Right.
I mean, but it's a mandatory thing. We have to do this. This is what's really driving a certain segment of our company right now. A lot of opportunity comes from being visible out there on social media.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing that eats up time, like this week I didn't do any, but like editing the YouTube videos. I mean, I had a kink in my neck for 2 weeks after doing the 2 videos. I mean.
Yeah, and John Peters talks about it all the time too.
Yeah.
The folks don't realize the amount of post-production time it takes to make these things actually watchable.
Yeah, you sift through, hours of footage to just make a 5-minute or a 15-minute video.
Even yesterday I noticed So we're building this secretary armoire, whatever we're calling it today. And I'm working on a process. Jeff grabs the camera, sets the tripod up, presses record. He's doing his job and following me around with the camera. And he's filming all the stuff, which is going to be hours of footage that he's going to have to thread together and make sense of, which is going to take a week probably. Can
my neck survive?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's one of those hidden costs.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, he's not getting paid for that time. And
it's an investment.
Yeah, it is. It's an investment in the future. And hopefully, I'm pretty confident it's going to pay off,
Yeah.
It'd be a wonderful, wonderful day to see that happen and, get postcards from you and stuff like that. You'll be here in New Jersey. I'll be in Fiji.
They take postcards at the nursing home?
Yeah. That's right. Go straight from here to the nursing home. It wouldn't be that bad. If that's how it goes. It wouldn't be too bad.
Mr. Barone, we got some mail for you.
Yeah. Is that from my boy Jeffrey? What Michael Steves on Instagram. Michael S. He's asking, just getting into woodworking, what would be the best first power tool to buy and get started?
Well, it's tough to say. Let's just assume that you have no power tools at all, I guess.
Yeah.
You got to go with a drill and driver.
Yeah.
You really can't get anywhere without those.
No.
You're going to use those to put things together, to take things apart, to make jigs and fixtures and...
I don't think there's anything we use more except for maybe the table saw.
Yeah, I mean, I have 4 of them over there at the bench, and I wish I had about another half a dozen.
Yeah, and I have 3, so they're constantly scattered around our little shop.
Actually, I have 5.
Yeah, that's right. If you mean something like a machine, we'd obviously say the table saw.
Yeah.
So there's your 2 answers, drill driver and table saw, if that's sort of where you were heading with that question. We tackled this question or something similar weeks and weeks ago, and we debated it, and those were the answers we really settled on.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels like a long time ago.
I know.
I wish I could say, check out episode 7.
I know it
wasn't 7.
You have no idea, but if you have any questions about those things, feel free to drop us a line.
Yeah.
We got,
Yeah, I want to say it's in around episode 10, maybe we talked about that.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that that's where it is, but.
All right. You want to read this next one?
Yeah.
Steve C.
What is your favorite project and or most memorable project? Oh, this is 2 questions I got stuck together.
So far.
Yeah. What is your, well, you see here, this is actually 2 questions. What is your favorite project and or most memorable project so far? Not necessarily a Greene Street project, just one from...
Is that supposed to say which?
From which of you? Oh, from each of you. Just one from each of you. An all-time kind of thing that sticks out. From Dustin F., one of our patrons out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I see. You didn't use the space in between those 2 questions.
Yeah, because I started reading it, and then I saw Steve. I'm like, this isn't the question Steve asked.
So Dustin's wants to know what our most memorable projects have been.
Yeah, not necessarily Greene Street, but just in general. One from each of us, all-time favorite.
Wow, that's
a tough question. And I've had a little bit of time to think about it. I haven't been thinking about it hard, but...
Go. You want to go first or no? I tell you, I could pick one. It's like trying to choose between your children. I'm gonna say this kitchen that I did in Cherry. It was small enough to where I could grain match the whole job, and it was one of those jobs where things just went well. That doesn't always happen. There were a lot of really finicky parts of this job. Like the cabinets had to get stepped back so they wouldn't block the windows, and it was a crazy door situation. There was a lot of things. There was such a limited spot, like some cabinets had to share a wall that wouldn't necessarily be that way. And it just came out really nice, and I was happy with it. And I remember it for that reason, that it was a real feeling of contentment when I finished, and there was no agita, no aggravation.
You're like, man, this was like, I had all the odds against me.
Yeah,
and I just
exactly. And
knocked it out.
Like, when you do something and you're surprised you did it. Like, I was expecting something to go wrong there.
Yeah, oh yeah, every day.
So I'll pick that one.
I'm going to shoot from the hip. This one popped into my head. As a finished carpenter, this is probably 2015. Working on a historic home in Monmouth Beach, which is right on the ocean. The house isn't on the ocean. It's a town right on the ocean in this barrier island that's right here, a couple miles up the road from us on the Atlantic Ocean. House from mid-1800s. We did an addition in the back and an addition on the second floor. Basically bumped out 2 floors. New kitchen, new flooring everywhere, et cetera, et cetera. So under the stairs was a little closet, the door. So in there, I actually did the flooring, walnut flooring. I did all the sheetrock because this kind of got like thrown onto me like at the end of the job. I didn't even do the trim in the house. That was subbed out because we were so busy. But, as it always happens, we come in to fix all the little things and do all the built-ins and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did the flooring, the sheetrock, the taping, everything. Underside of the stair, all that, the walls. And then I built the whole thing out as like a china closet.
Nice.
So there were on the sides little shelves with the little dowel, little dowel things for displaying plates. And I had made felt line drawers and silverware dividers and stuff, tray dividers. It was really cool. Really, really nice folks. I actually spoke to the homeowner not that long ago because we routinely get people reaching out to ask about refinishing, and we don't do refinishing.
Yeah.
It's a very specialized kind of thing, and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg if we try and do it because we don't do it. It's not what we're good at. So we're expensive at what we're good at, so we're going to be more expensive at what we're not. So I knew that she had a good refinisher, so I spoke to her. Really nice people. And it was just a really fulfilling job to do the whole thing from start to finish and then see it get painted. Yeah. And it was cool. It
makes me think of like those psychological surveys that they would give people about job satisfaction. And the thing about like assembly line workers, the job satisfaction, part of why it's so low is because they never see a project come to fruition. They're just engaged in a small part. And that's the opposite of what you just described.
Yeah.
You see it all the way through, and then you look back and go, man, I did this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some jobs like we would trim out and then never go back to see it painted.
Yeah.
Typically you would have some punch list stuff at the very, very end of the job, bathroom, hardware, stuff like that. But some of these jobs you just never made it back to.
Yeah.
And it's like a open-ended story. Like you never saw the end.
There's no closure.
Yeah. So that was a cool one. And I was still cutting my teeth really.
Yeah.
So each one of the, like, you felt relied on and humbled to be left to do, like nobody was saying, put this here and do it. No, it was all on me to figure it out.
Yeah.
So it was fulfilling,
That's a great process.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I sent you pictures of my very first walk-in closet that I built. Yeah. That was, man.
That was no small job either.
It was huge. It was about half the size of the shop, about a 400 square foot walk-in closet in Red Bank in another very, very old home. Original parquet floor. And those pictures didn't even show a lot of it.
Yeah, I lived in the smaller apartments.
Yeah. I mean, that was like 15 sheets of plywood or something in that.
Oh, God.
All site built. There was a the bedroom and then this long hallway that went around the side, and then you turned into the master closet, and then the master bathroom was right there. So I built everything in the bedroom with a table saw and a chop saw and routers, and carried it all around, and it was insane. Wow. Angled shoe shelves and a makeup counter with radius shelves. I was like 20.
Kept waiting for somebody to come in and help you.
Well, I'd have guys, they're like, how long you been doing this? I'm like, 2 years. They're like, man. But that's how you learn. It's just getting thrown to the wolves and just figure it out.
Yeah. That's it. And usually you don't get any accolades. You just, you do the job and everybody goes, all right, good job, Jeff.
Yeah, I was making $14 an hour or something.
The only time they really notice you is when you screw something up.
Yeah. That job too, like we built a laundry chute. So they bought a vanity that had a slat bottom. I had to cut the vanity apart, make a door, cut a hole in the floor with a thing, make a chase that goes down to the first floor. It was crazy.
That sounds like fun though.
Yeah, and yeah, man, now that you put it that way, thinking back, I'm like, yeah, I'm just some guy making $14 an hour.
Yeah. Oh,
like
man,
busting out stuff that...
You were a money maker.
Oh, yeah. That's why I left when they couldn't give me any more money, because I'm like, yeah. You've been making a mint off my sweat for 5 years.
Yeah. If he was smart, he would have thrown you a couple of bucks and,
Yeah. He didn't even put up a fight.
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right. So now we get on to Steve C's question, who's Coop Skateboards on Instagram. We know Steve. What do you use for laying up wood veneers to plywood?
Well, we just don't really do it.
No, we don't. We have very little call for it.
Yeah.
The few small things we've had to do, it's just clamps and a platen, like a big flat piece of wood, underneath the clamps. I guess if we had a job that demanded it, we either look to borrow or get access to somebody's vacuum
bag. Yeah.
And if it really warranted it, we'd go out and buy something.
Yeah, I mean, we have a decent amount of experience with vacuum bags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've all done it
at other shops for both, veneers, shop-made veneers, commercially available veneers, and Formica, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we don't really have a need to use veneers at this point.
No, I mean, like the back of this cherry cabinet, we're just going to use a piece of cherry plywood, and you can specify what type of veneer you want.
Yeah, we have what is it, A1 or whatever? It's just a high grade.
You're just asking for what's the best looking veneer you have on. You can even specify the type of core you want.
Yeah, so
it's pretty readily available and good to go. I guess if it was something exotic, I mean, you can even get that stuff now. You order it.
You get Wengi on MDF or I mean, whatever. Places like Atlantic Plywood actually lay up veneers custom, I believe.
Well, we know Steve makes a lot of skateboards, so he's laminating a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a vacuum bag here just to have it and use it.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It's like anything, just another tool in the quiver.
Yeah.
But until the day comes that we, for example, this job that I just sent the price out today, the species on the credenza, it's a wine cabinet credenza, this whole wall with mirrors. The species is undetermined, but maybe we were talking about doing quarter saw and sycamore, which not that easy to find.
We were trying to find it.
And, sycamore is very unstable, so that could be a situation where can we fit $500 into the cost to get a vacuum bag and get some veneer? Well, maybe.
Yeah. You have to juggle some of the numbers around and see what you come up with. So that's it. We're pretty primitive as far as that goes. We do it, with the pressure.
Yeah. When we build like doors, we just build them solid.
Yeah.
We build these big barn doors and stuff, and they weigh, they might weigh a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah, because everything's solid wood. It's It's the way we do things. It's how we're geared up as a shop and all those other things. So it's not always just a point where it's like, well, this is how we do it and we don't do it any other way. It's the most practical for us in many.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cost is already so much to build this door. I'm going to all of a sudden inject all this extra labor into making a composite core on the door and then putting a skin on it and on the back and on the sides, top, bottom. For us, it's just easier to build it out of solid wood and then just get a better hinge that can handle the weight.
Yeah, because everybody knows the labor is the most expensive part.
Yeah.
And so we're the most expensive part of the job. If we could save time by doing it out of hardwood instead of laying up veneers, it's cheaper.
I could see if it's something highly figured, like you've done the bird's eye maple panels out of veneer, or the stuff like quarter sawn butternut that's not easy to find. I mean, I definitely see the use for it. Just again, like you said, we stick to what we know, and for the most part, and only branch out when it's
and those door
feasible.
panels. They're like 8-9 inches by maybe 15 inches tops. For a little kitchen. So it's easy to do with a bunch of clamps and the glue, the special glue, because it has just the right amount of setup time and everything. And that's going to bring us to thoughts on the beer of the week.
That's all we got this week.
We might have to rethink this one bottle of beer.
Yeah, you took that out quick. This one was small. I was thinking about grabbing 2.
But actually, it's the right amount of beer for us, really,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not big drinkers.
I got work to do when I get home.
Yeah, we have to go through the day still. Yeah. And so I thought it was great. It really, I wouldn't say I could definitely taste it as pineapple, although if I thought about it, I'd say yes. But it definitely had a fruity, like zest to it. Like it was bright in that sense and crisp. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it. It actually has some food pairings here.
Huh.
Savory tacos al pastor, torta de jamón, and ceviche de camarón.
Shrimp, ham
sandwich, and shrimp ceviche. Did I say shrimp sandwich? Ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich.
Cheese, queso chihuahua, queso añejo, and queso Oaxaca. Lunch, mil máscaras. What's that?
I don't know.
Máscara, 1,000 masks. Who's that? I have to look that up. Blue Demon. Oh, luchadores. It's wrestlers. Blue Demon and El Santo. I don't know what they're getting at with that. If they're talking about Lucha Libre.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. I mean, there must be some sort of Mexican connection with the artwork and the food.
Yeah. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Piña Cielo is the name of the beer.
Yeah.
AKA Scully Barrel. Huh. Scully Barrel. Oh, we missed this part of the bottle. AKA Scully Barrel number 57. Fruit has an afterlife. Fermentation begins the process of transformation that refines fruits to their essence, a pure reflection of one season and one place. This tepache... Oh, okay. So it's inspired by tepache, which is like a Mexican fermented drink. Inspired wild, sour, golden ale began with the open fermenting of whole pineapples in our 300-gallon cool ship. Ceylon cinnamon and dark brown sugar were added to further the evolution of flavors and hint at this drink's origins in pre-Columbian Mexico. Salud.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It really was pretty interesting. And another beer that was not as beer-like as you might think.
Yeah, if I'm going to drink just like one beer, I might as well have something unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've had all those other beers.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a beverage. It's nice. And it was really cold too, so it was tasty. So tool of the week. It's on our website.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the description. In the on the sorry, bumbling on my words here. In the podcast description on the YouTube video. Check us out on YouTube. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. Which
yeah, thank you. All the subscribers out there.
Yeah.
Really means a lot to us.
Yeah. Thank you to our gold tier patrons, David Murphy, Manny Sirianni, Eric, Dustin Fair, and Adam Podcast.
We have a discussion every week over Dustin.
Fair like mayor. We appreciate it, guys. It means a lot.
Yes.
If you didn't know, every week we do an after show for the patrons. So we'll put up a 30 or 45-minute little bonus show where we talk about all kinds of stuff, not necessarily woodworking related. We'll always tie it back in somehow. But, these guys mean a lot to us, so we give them a nice little show.
Yeah, we try our very, very best.
Yeah.
So everybody be well out there. Take care of yourselves. And please come back next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week for 22.
Yes. This was episode 2021.
21 and 2021. 2201.
Yes.